Hey everybody, Console Collector here. In this series, we talk about games to get. Whether they're rare and expensive, cheap and fun, these are games I recommend you go out and get. If you know any games to get from the console featured in today's episode, be sure to let everyone know in the comments below. With that all said, I recommend these are games to get. Welcome to episode 1 of Games to Get. For today's episode, we're going to take a look at games to get for the Xbox 360. First one I want to talk about is Darkest of Days. Now this may look like some kind of filler title that you wouldn't take a second glance at, but I assure you it's not. I picked this up on a whim. It looked really interesting. This game reminds me of an old show called Quantum Leap. Basically in that show, Sam Beckett would go back in time and he'd get to live through different historical moments through time. He'd try to right wrongs and change the past for the better. Well, that's what you do in this game. You get to take a time machine and go back in time and play through different eras in our history. It's a first-person shooter. It's graphically not the best-looking game, but the concept is really awesome. I enjoyed the little bit I did play of it. I want to put some more time into it. I just wanted to feature it in this episode because I think Darkest of Days is a game to get. Here we have Jurassic Park, the game. This is a game that I really don't see many people talk about. What is this game? Well, it's a Jurassic Park game, but it's actually made by Telltale Games. And if you're familiar with them, they made the Walking Dead games and other games like The Wolf Among Us. So this is a heavy story-based game that has timed action sequences where you press a certain button at a certain time. You also get to make decisions on the fly. So it's a really interactive game that I think if you like Jurassic Park, you should check out. I actually picked this game back up in 2013. I found the receipt inside when I went to film for this video. So I've had this game a long time. What's cool is it actually takes place during the first movie. So you're playing a different character from the movie while everything's going on from the first movie. So I don't want to spoil too much, but if you like Jurassic Park, this is definitely a game to get. Now we have Lollipop Chainsaw. When I first saw this game, I didn't know what to expect. You got a pretty cheerleader on the cover, you got zombies, and a weird name like Lollipop Chainsaw. And then you also have a beheaded guy here. I picked it up basically because it's a zombie game, and I love zombie games. Well, that was many years ago, and I was not disappointed. This is one of those games that is fun. It's just silly fun. There's not too much depth here with story. It's basically one of those games you just pick up and play for a couple hours and put down. Or if you really want to, just go right through it. This game's actually gotten quite a bit of attention lately. It has been going up in price, but it's so much fun. I think you guys should pick it up. The concept behind it is you're a cheerleader. She's super bubbly. She has a giant chainsaw. You're running around cutting up zombies and destroying zombies and saving people. Pretty basic concept, but again, it's a fun game. Definitely one that you should get. Here we have Autobahn Polizia. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm probably butchering the name. I don't speak Italian, so please forgive me if I'm not saying it correct. I don't know how to pronounce it. But this game here, I think you guys should get it because it's actually pretty rare and it's fun. I like it. Basically, you are a European police officer and you get to drive around and do missions, bust up the bad guys. What I like about this is it has real car damage and it has some like really crazy crashes and stuff. It's just a really fun kind of semi-open world game. Especially for someone here in North America, you don't get to see that side of policing and stuff. It's just a cool little game. And again, it is pretty rare. It's definitely one I think you guys should get because I feel like this is going to go up in price more and more as time goes on. This next one is actually very similar to Autobahn Polizia. It's Crash Time Autobahn Pursuit. It honestly plays a lot like the other one. However, I find this one graphically doesn't look as good and the controls aren't as good. I'm not sure which one came out first, but it's almost the same game. It's like the same kind of engine it looks like, and even the same kind of car. So in this one too, you're a European police officer or investigator. You're just driving around and doing missions. I'm certain that those two are in the same series. This is another pretty rare Xbox 360 game. If I had to choose though, I would definitely go with Autobahn Polizia over this one, just simply because that one plays better, looks better. I do have to give this one some credit though. The crashes in this can be pretty wild. So Crash Time Autobahn Pursuit, a game to get. This is a pretty uncommon game that I never see anybody talking about. It's called Diomedius Excellent. It's a shoot 'em up or cute 'em up, and it's inspired by Gradius. Basically, you have a semi-sexualized female, and you're just going around and shooting things up. When I first popped it in, I was kind of disappointed because the initial little laser I got was really bad. But once I got some power-ups, I was having fun, and before I knew it, I beat this game. So yeah, it was really cool. It is multiplayer too, which is awesome. It's just not a game that I see anybody ever talk about, and I feel like shoot 'em ups always seem to increase in value. This game I see everywhere for like $10 to $15. So this is definitely a game to get before the price goes up, because something tells me when this one catches on, it's going to be expensive. Here we have Fear, First Encounter Assault Recon. This game is very interesting. I just beat it in my Games I Beat in 2021 video, and I enjoyed it. What is this game? It's a first-person horror game. Yeah, what a mix, right? It was really interesting. At times it was full of action and shooting. Other times it's dark, it's quiet. I'm walking through hallways and boom, jump scare. You got ghosts around. It was a really weird concept that I wasn't sure how it would turn out, but now that I've completed it, I was really impressed, and I'm looking forward to moving on to some other games in the series. A really unique first-person shooter. So, that's Fear 1. There's actually several games in the series. I haven't played or completed these ones, but I just want to talk about them quickly. You got Fear 2, Project Origins. We got Fear 3. These games have all been going up in price recently, so I think they're definitely games you want to get now, sooner than later, because they are going to be expensive. However, there's a fourth and final in the series, which is only available on the Xbox 360 in physical form, and that's Fear Files. It's basically an expansion pack for the Fear series. This game is really expensive now. It's between like $50 to $80 right now at the time of me filming this video, and it's just taking off. So definitely get on the Fear train before all of these get too expensive. I believe 2 is the cheapest right now, followed by 3, and the number 1 is just behind Fear Files. So the Fear series, some games to get. Here we have Tornado Outbreak. I got this game a few years ago, just on a whim at a thrift store, and I'm like, tornado game, that sounds interesting. I was blown away at how good this game was. It's actually one of my favorite Xbox 360 games, Tornado Outbreak. It's just the dumbest idea. Who would have knew it was so fun? So you're a little tornado. You start off as like a little dust storm, and then before you know it, you're big enough where you're taking out cars and buildings. Yeah, you play as a tornado. That is just so crazy. There's boss fights and stuff. You know, I beat this game. It's definitely like cel shaded on the cartoony side, but it's just a lot of fun. Something about destroying things as a tornado, you just can't match that. There's definitely not a lot of games like Tornado Outbreak. This is definitely a game to get. I know it's been going up in price, so. Next we have Marvel Ultimate Alliance Gold Edition. Now, this is a special edition of Marvel Ultimate Alliance. What makes it special is this comes with all the DLC characters on the disc. Yes, on the disc. Characters like Doctor Doom and, of course, Venom. I love this game. It's so fun. I've had it for a few years. I actually got it for a really good price years ago. I recently checked the price of it just for this video, and I couldn't believe that this thing is over $100 now. It's a really fun game. Marvel's definitely a really popular thing right now. When I went and got this game, Marvel was definitely not as big as it is now, so it was a lot cheaper. But yeah, it's like a giant Marvel crossover game. My team on this I like to use are Moon Knight, Deadpool, Iceman, and Venom. It's just a really fun game. Whether you're by yourself or with friends, it's fun. You can do 1 to 4 players. It's a top-down
beat 'em up, basically. If you like Marvel and the Marvel Universe, I really think you guys should get this one, especially the Gold Edition, because you get all these extra characters. So yeah, it's really fun. Definitely a game to get. Speaking of Marvel games, this is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So there's two versions of this game on the 360. There's Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and then the Ultimate Edition. The Ultimate Edition has more characters. Basically, it's a fighting game, Marvel vs. Capcom. It's another entry in the beloved series. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is awesome. This one I don't like as much, but it's still a really great game. It's a multi-character fighter like so. And yeah, you know fighting games, right? It's not much to say about it, except it's awesome. The roster has some really great stuff in it, like Frank West from Dead Rising. That was really cool. And you got like Nemesis, you know, Morgan's in there, which is exciting for me. But even got some new characters to the franchise, like Doctor Strange and Firebrand, you know, Chris Redfield. So yeah, nice variety of characters. Even Phoenix Wright was a big surprise. Definitely a really awesome game. What I really like about this is it's fun. What I really don't like about it is they didn't put Venom in it. Yeah, Venom was in the second one, and he's in Infinite, but he's not in the third. That's just too bad, but what do you do? Still a great game that I think you should get. This next game, I've never heard anybody talk about, and that is Bullet Witch. This game kind of reminds me of Lollipop Chainsaw, mixed with a little bit of Bayonetta. So you're this woman here, and it's a third-person game where you run around with this giant gun, but you can also do like hand combat and beat enemies with your gun. It's very similar to Lollipop Chainsaw. I find it's a little bit slower. It's a very unique game. It's not perfect. I do find the controls are a bit wonky, and aiming the huge gun can be difficult. But it's one of those games, just pick up and play for a little bit. I think you'll enjoy it. Something tells me this game is going to get expensive. Just these odd games like this that are fun always seem to go up in price. So I think you guys should get Bullet Witch now before it becomes insanely priced. Up next we have Death Smiles. This is another shoot 'em up slash cute 'em up. It's some anime girls, and it's just a straight up shoot 'em up. This one's unique because when you're playing, you can shoot forward or you can flip around and shoot back, and you just got bullets coming from all over. It's kind of hectic, but it's a lot of fun. It's similar to Autobahn Excellence. I just don't think it's as fun, in my opinion. Graphically, it doesn't look as nice. This is cool though because it has different versions. I know there's the 360 version, there's the arcade version. It's a really good little shoot 'em up. The Xbox 360 doesn't have a lot of shoot 'em ups, so I feel like this is another one that's just going to keep going up in value. This one is definitely more expensive than Diomedius Excellence, so you might have a little bit more trouble finding this one for a decent price. But I definitely think Death Smiles is a game to get. Got another fighting game here I just want to talk about. This is Street Fighter Crosskken. This is the special edition. This game is what it sounds like. Street Fighter versus Tekken. You got Kazuya on the front here with Ryu. It's got a decent character roster. One complaint I have about this game is you have to buy extra characters. Yeah, buy them. And that's too bad. I know the PS3 version has some really unique characters. This version I don't find is as good as the PS3 version, but it's still pretty decent. It's a cheap game. I think it's a game to pick up now because crossovers are always popular and seem to go up in value. It does have 38 characters there. So if you're a fan of Street Fighter or Tekken, I think this is a game to get. Next up, we have The Darkness. I actually beat this game in 2021. This is such a unique game. What is it? Well, you play as this fella here, Jackie, and you're possessed by some demons. It's a first-person shooter with a twist. Yes, you get your guns, you can shoot up some enemies and stuff, but then you got these demons that come out of your body, and they can go out and hunt and attack for you. They can break lights, they can do stealth stuff for you. It's really fun having them sneak out of your body, go up and stealth kill some bad guys. It's so cool. Again, a really unique game. What's really good about this game is it is dirt cheap. I'm talking like I've seen this game for $5. Yeah, it is so cheap. I don't know why. It's actually really fun. There is a second game called The Darkness 2. I haven't played that one. I want to definitely make some time for it. But just because this game is so unique and fun and cheap, I definitely think it's a game to get. Here we have Fist of the North Star, Ken's Rage. This game is based on an anime. I don't know anything about it. I picked it up because this game looked fun, and I was right. It's a 3D beat 'em up, but it reminds me a lot of the Warriors games, where you're just going around and beating the snot out of big hordes of enemies. It's another one of those games that's just fun to pick up and play for a little bit. I'm sure if you're a big fan of this Ken guy and his anime, it's definitely for you. But even for someone like me that knows nothing about his origins, I had a lot of fun with this game. Just going around and doing cool moves and beating up enemies. Yeah, tons of fun. There's actually a second game in the series called Ken's Rage 2. I haven't played this one, but I imagine it's very similar, so I picked that up a while ago. I've noticed that these games are both going up in price, so I think now is the time to pick them up. Again, these games that are just fun, little simple games like this that are low print or not well known, always seem to hold their value and go up, so perfect time to get these now. Up next, we have Dead Rising. Now, I'm sure most of you know this game. It's a pretty well-known, popular game, but I want to talk about it because I still think it's a game to get. This game reminds me of Dawn of the Dead. Whether you're a fan of the original or the 2004 remake, this is pretty much like playing that movie. You're trapped in a mall with a bunch of zombies and trying to survive, and I love that concept. This is one of those games that's over the top, silly, and fun. It's not a really serious, survival horror. It's just run around and beat the snot out of different zombies. You can literally pick up like a bench and beat zombies with it. Or as you can see here, Frank with a TV or a serve-bot head or some toys. And like the things you can kill zombies with is ridiculous. And that what makes it so much fun. It's just a fun zombie game. I love zombie games. And I have to say, this is one of the funnest. Dead Rising. The sheer amount of zombies in the mall too is really awesome. I used to just grab random items and just go and play for a couple hours and just have fun destroying things, You name it, you can use it. Like plates, guitars, a jug of orange juice, like signs, shopping carts. Again, a fun zombie game. Dead Rising. A game you should get. We've only got a couple more games to look at, so let's take a look at the next one, and this is Splatterhouse. This is based on the franchise of Splatterhouse from the Sega Genesis and the TurboGrafx and the arcade. Basically, you're just running around. It's another 3D beat 'em up. This is very gory, has a crazy heavy metal soundtrack to it. It's one of those games, again, that it's just fun. I do find this one gets a little repetitive, which some of the other games you've seen here don't quite get as repetitive. They're a little more fun, but I wanted to mention it because this game has been going up in price, and I think now is the time to get it before it goes up more. One of the coolest things about this is you can actually unlock the original 3 Splatterhouse games within this, which is awesome. So it's actually an affordable way to get all 3 Splatterhouse games on your Xbox 360. You do, however, have to play through the game, so brace yourself for that. It's not unlocked from the start. But yeah, Splatterhouse. The game itself is pretty good. Again, a little bit repetitive, but I think you guys should pick this one up. Definitely a game to get. This next one may surprise you. This is the Xbox Live Arcade Game Pack featuring a variety of different games. The reason why I want to feature this one is because it has Bomberman Live in it. It's a really good version of Bomberman. Usually these things are really cheap, and this one is cheap. There you can see Bomberman Live. You can customize your Bomberman in it and just play traditional Bomberman. I'm a big fan of Bomberman, and yeah, it's a cheap game. If you guys see this around, I would get it, just if you like Bomberman, of course. The rest of the games are kind of meh. Honestly, I think this is just Bomberman Live. That's all I ever play on it. So Yeah, not much to say about Bomberman, except it's Bomberman Live, so a game to get. Second to last game for today's episode, we have One Chanbara Bikini Samurai Squad. This game is tough to find. It's still pretty cheap, but I feel like this is another one that's going to get expensive once people figure out how fun it is. This game reminds me of Lollipop Chainsaw and Bullet Witch. It's kind of just run around in a 3D environment and kill zombies. This is really cool because you get swords though. You do get some guns and other kind of weapons in the game, but mainly for her, you get these swords. And I can't tell you how much fun it is just to jump into a crowd and slice and dice, kind of like Michonne from The Walking Dead. This game is highly sexualized. I don't know if you can tell by the girl in the cover here. I'm not really into that. I just like the gameplay of it. You also get this girl here in a little schoolgirl outfit. But yeah, there's not much to say other than you just run around, have some fun for a couple hours, and slice and dice some zombies. Games like this, I really do think are going to go up. So I think One Chanbara Bikini Samurai Squad is a game to get. And one quick note, this game is actually available on the Wii as well. But who wants to use motion controls when you can get it on the 360? Last but definitely not least game for today's episode, Left 4 Dead 2. I would not be a true zombie fan if I didn't talk about this game. If you don't have Left 4 Dead 2, what are you doing? Turn off this video and go get it. Even if you don't like first-person shooters, this is the type of game that is endless fun. Now, I actually host 8-player LAN parties for this game. And that's right, I have 8 TVs, 8 Xboxes, and 8 people, and we play Left 4 Dead Versus mode. I can admit the campaign does get old, but Versus is just endless fun. Like, when we play these Left 4 Dead LAN parties, we go, 7-8 hours nonstop, back to back, back to back. Even replaying some maps over, like Dark Carnival, we'll do it 2-3 times in that night. Just because every time you play through, it's different. There's so much to do and so much fun to have in this game. Versus is definitely the cream of the crop. What's great about this game too is it actually has all of the maps from Left 4 Dead 1 available to download. Unfortunately, you can't do those in LAN party mode, but you can download them. They're not on the disc either, which is unfortunate, but either way, Left 4 Dead 2 is my favorite Xbox 360 game, hands down. It's a ton of fun. Now, I mentioned if you don't like first-person shooters, you might not like this. Well, when we were setting up the LAN party for the first time, I had non-gamers come over and play this and enjoy it. And then I had gamers that didn't like first-person shooters, and they enjoyed it. There's just something about this game, the versus mode in particular, that is so fun that everybody enjoys it. I haven't met a single person that doesn't like playing this game. It's awesome. It's Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead 2, man. Just go get it. If you are to get any game from today's episode, get Left 4 Dead 2. It's so fun. And one other thing I want to mention is the online servers are still up and running for this. So if you get this, you can actually play versus mode online still with people around the world. And apparently you can still get a lobby fairly easy. I prefer LAN parties with my friends, but just know the option there is you can go out and play online and try out versus mode. I guess I should talk about the game. Basically, it's a chapter-based game, and you're just trying to survive the chapter. There's melee weapons. There's a very large assortment of guns. You can get things, power-ups like pills and adrenaline shots. And yeah, some of the melee weapons are awesome. I love the guitar. It's just a really good zombie game. Not only is it my favorite Xbox 360 game, this is one of my favorite games ever, Left 4 Dead 2. That's going to do it for today's episode of Games to Get. You would do well picking up any of these games featured in today's episode. However, if there's 2 games that I recommend you go out and get right away, that would be Autobahn Excellent, just because it's still a cheap, decent shoot 'em up, and I do have a feeling it is going to go up in price in the future. And of course, Left 4 Dead 2. Endless amounts of fun, even if you don't like that genre of game. These are my picks of games to get for the Xbox 360.
Alright, That's going to wrap up today's video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'd really appreciate it. You can follow me on social media. The information is in the description below. I want to thank everybody for watching. I am the Console Collector, and until the next video, happy gaming.